Welcome back to our work camping experience. I'm Jill, my partner is Charles, and we live off the grid in our 25-foot travel trailer. We've spent this whole winter boondocking on Kofa National Wildlife Refuge in one of the driest parts of the Sonoran Desert. And it would be difficult to find any place more different from our home in Vermont, where we spent last winter hauling water and shoveling snow on our off-grid property. But this has been no ordinary Arizona winter. It's an El Nino year. We've had more than twice the normal winter rainfall this year. Around here, that's a cause for celebration. Back when we arrived in December, the only plants we met were the ones that had made it through the driest parts of the year. The rest of the desert was bare dirt. Then we had some really heavy rains, and within a few weeks we started seeing little patches of green under the bushes and trees. It rained a few more times after that, and the patches of green crept out from under the trees and started spreading across the bare dirt, until the desert looked like a completely different place. We were told to expect wildflowers, so we waited and waited for them, and finally, around late February, we started to find tiny blooms here and there. But they were easy to miss unless you paid really close attention to what was happening down by your feet. By early March, the carpet of green was up to my ankles, and some of the wildflowers were starting to show off. Good morning. Spring is upon us. It comes early here, and we've been seeing signs of it everywhere. We've been given a new task for today. Paul, the biologist, said that among the spring wildflowers that are blooming right now, there are some beautiful but invasive African daisies coming up on the refuge. He gave us the GPS coordinates and instructions to check on them every few days. So we're going to go out there and see if we can find the daisies and pull them up. The daisies are difficult to see unless they are in bloom, so that's why we need to check every few days. Let's go check them out. Well, we found the daisies, which also go by the name of Cape Marigold. They come in several different colors, and they're very pretty, which is why people put them in their flower beds. But they don't belong in a wilderness area. And this population just might still be small enough to eradicate. We've been continuing to take care of the Sonoran pronghorn in the captive breeding program, and we've finally had a chance to meet a few of the wild ones. The one we see most often is this yearling buck, who keeps coming back to visit the herd. inside the pronghorn pen is where we met this sidewinder on rodent patrol next to the feeding station. But if you've been following our channel, you're probably aware that we love snakes and other scary animals. So, let's talk about scorpions. I wouldn't say the nights are quite warm yet, but when I heard they were warm enough for scorpions to be out hunting, I had to invest in a UV flashlight so I could watch them. Now I take it with me every time I go outside after dark to use the facilities, and on most nights, I don't even have to leave the campsite to find something interesting. And the blacklight attracts moths, so the scorpions have been putting on quite a show. But it turns out not every scorpion is quite prepared for the moths to lose their minds in front of the blacklight. Good morning. We have a new job today. We have been invited to participate in a desert tortoise survey. So we're here with Paul, the wildlife biologist, and Kira, the biotech intern.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful day on Kofa. So it's mid-March. We've had a very wet winter, so it's very lush and verdant compared to how it normally looks out here. So our job today is we're going to go out and try to rerun some old tortoise survey transects that were collected back in 1989 and 1991. There has not been any tortoise work done on Kofa since the early 90s. So yeah, our plan today is to go out and hike some previous transects. We're going to be looking for any signs of tortoise, any burrows, dens, scat, tracks, and hopefully we'll maybe see a live tortoise. This is the time of year when they're actually starting to get active. To do that, so we've got these old maps. This is kind of what we're basing our survey transects off of. Since kind of digitize these, put them into our electronic devices so we can try to follow a transect as best we can. And when we find any sort of sign, we're going to make notes, try to keep records. So maybe down the road, we'll assess how the tortoise population's doing out here.
And we've been asked to channel our inner tortoise. So slow and methodical is the goal. We paid special attention to pack rat middens because the rats don't just collect pieces of cactus to defend their nests. They also decorate with bones and wildlife scat. And Paul carried a mirror, which worked even better than a flashlight for illuminating the holes where the tortoises might be hiding. What'd you find, Kira?
Tortoise scat.
So yeah, we got here, it's very indicative of what tortoise scat looks like. So it's vegetative material, and it's got these long little grass strands. This one's super, super old and decaying, but this is what tortoise scat looks like.
We're back from the tortoise survey, and our ankles and knees are all worn out.
Their habitat is not what I expected. It seems to me that they would be down on flat land, but we were walking around the side of a mountain.
So the truth is, it's actually very difficult to find Sonoran Desert tortoises alive in the wild. But we can introduce you to Fred, who lives at the Refuge Complex office in Yuma. And this is Digger, who is one of 3 Sonoran Desert tortoises on display at the visitor center at Imperial Wildlife Refuge. But then we had one more mountain to search. And this one made us hopeful, because the tortoise scat was not just in the pack rat middens, it was all over the mountainside.
Found a big old tortoise shell. Pretty well intact. Still a few bones inside.
253. 253.
Got a tortoise!
What sex did you say?
Male. 274. 210. Height is 104.
This morning we went to the pronghorn pen one last time. And as always, we checked the feeding bins to see what might be hiding underneath. This one is a little guy. Okay, little guy, we're gonna put your bin back and then you can go back under it. How's that? Okay. But this snake had its own opinion about which bin would make the safest hiding place. I guess that's lucky for you though, because now you can see why it's called a sidewinder. Bye-bye, pronghorn. Well, this is the very last video in this series, and by the time you are watching it, we are packing up and getting ready to leave Kofa Refuge. However, our Arizona adventures are not quite finished. Our next stop is Organ Pipe Cactus National Monument on the Arizona-Mexico border. And after that, we're planning to catch the solar eclipse in Texas on our way back home. Hi, Fred. What's up?